Hello, today we're going to cover taping the shoulder, but we're going to do it in such a way that it's going to give us a tremendous amount of actual support and stability, but we're going to position it so it's actually in the joint properly so we can tape it in the best possible position. So for this you're going to need 3 pieces of tape of equal length, okay? To cut it, easiest way to do it is to just measure it basically. So if we've got head and shoulder here, okay, the tape is roughly about half the length of a humerus. Okay, so from the top of a shoulder down, roughly about half the length. Don't worry if you cut it a little bit too short, or if you don't cut it kind of long enough, you'll be all right. So the first bit of tape is to help keep the shoulder position. Okay, so when we look at people from the side, what we want for header, what we want for our hypermobile buddies at home, is that our shoulder sits directly below our knee. Our ear, sorry, it's been a very long day, I apologize. So our shoulder joint sits below the ear, okay? So Heather's is pretty good to start because she does a lot of training. However, for a lot of people, this shoulder joint's gonna be like that, okay? A lot of people might have things like forward head posture, so we're gonna be a bit crazy. So before we start anything, stand up tall, lift your sternum up. Remember, it pushes the rib cage up and it flattens our shoulder blades and it opens up the shoulder joint. Okay, so starting, we're going to go 90 degrees with the elbow, and then we're going to rotate about 40-45 degrees externally. Okay, now this is the important bit. We're going to pull this shoulder blade back and in. Okay, so we've got a nice bit of tension here, like tension running through the rhomboids, tension running through the traps, and more importantly, we're nice and aligned here. Your first bit of tape, we're going to tear off the first inch at the top. Okay, it's going to be an anchor point. We're going to bend this part over, make our life a little bit easier as we always do, and we're going to pull this bit off. So where this is going, okay, so before you tape it, make sure you're in this position, because what will happen is once we've got the tape on, if we do relax and the shoulder does fall forward, it will pull the tape, it will aggravate the nerves in the skin, and then the brain will go, oh, and will automatically pull it back into the right position. So we've got the front of head and shoulder here. Okay, this is where we want this bit of tape. So we're just going to very gently stick that anchor point down, give it a little rub, activate the adhesive, okay? And when this goes around, it should really be going around here. Try and avoid going across the top, okay? We want to go around. We want this lift, okay? So pull the edge of the tape off. For this, we want a good amount of, remember, arms are heavy, we want a good amount of tension on this bit of tape. So give it a good 90% pull, okay? Pull it round, ensuring we keep the 90% pull on. And the tape should end up, okay, just hitting the shoulder blade. Okay, so keep that position, Heather, lovely. Give it a rub. So if we look at header, okay, right here is the edge of header's shoulder blade. So we're nice and smack bang on that shoulder blade for a little bit of support. So when header turns to the side, when she relaxes the arm down, see how the shoulder didn't actually move. So if we're in that position, she's pulling it in. If you relax the arm, header, see how we stay in position. We get a slight bit of movement forward, but not a massive amount. And if we look at the alignment, easy peasy, we are where we want to be. So that's the first bit of our tape, okay? Front of the deltoid, running around, making sure not to go over the top, okay? Around, gives us that pull, keeps it close and stuck into the joint, and then we're finishing the tape off on the actual shoulder blade. So, next bit of tape, a little bit harder to get on, especially if people have things like string vests and different stuff like that. We are gonna, again, tear off about the first inch. Fold it over, pull this off, okay? Now, again, we're gonna add same position. So header is going to, this time, this is the important bit, guys, I want you to lift the shoulder up. So shrug it up, then externally rotate 40 degrees to 45, okay? Don't externally rotate it, then lift. It has to be before. So we're in this position, we're up, then we're rotated out. And what I want you to do is to pull your shoulder blades together. Good. Perfect positioning. So This one is going a little bit lower, okay? So if we've got this part of head and shoulder, we're just going to go about 4 fingers down, okay? And this is where we're putting our anchor tape. I want you to angle it ever so slightly backwards. And I'll show you why this is important in a minute. So if you look at my tape, it's not flush, it's not going straight down, it's got a bit of an angle backwards. This is important. So get the tape on, and then if somebody's helping you do this at home, always ensure they've got this shoulder hiked up and the arms externally rotated, because people kind of zone out and just drop. So now, again, we want a good bit of tape. Pull it, and we want a good bit of tension even, okay? But this time, what I want you to do, if we turn around, it might be easier for you guys to see at home. What I want you to do is to give it a good 90-degree pull again, and I want you to stick it down as we go up, okay? Once we hit the original bit of tape, you can leave go a little bit, because for most people, it's going to be quite a bit of a nightmare trying to get over various bits of clothing. And what we can do essentially is just use this as the anchor point. All we want is this pull connecting us to this bit of the tissue, to the tape either. So, stick your tape down. Good, and then we've got a nice, if you relax in there, lovely, good. So we've got our front bit of tape pulling the shoulder into the position we want. We've got this bit of tape helping to pull the actual humerus up into the joint. And now we need one more piece of tape. So if we get our piece of tape out again, first inch or so, pull it off. And this time, we're going to angle it out the other way, okay? So, like I always say with these taping videos, guys, if you can get away with putting tape on tape rather than on a new bit of skin, do it, because it makes it so much easier, and it stops irritation, things like that. Another good point to note is if you've got lotion on, things like that, to have a good wash, jump in the shower, get the lotion off, or if you have any kind of fine hairs on your arms, give them a shave. It makes it way easier. So, right, this time, arm comes up to 90 degrees. That's it. I don't want you to do anything else with that arm. Just keep it in that position, but keep that sternum up. And for this bit of tape, we're going to go up and we're going to go around, okay? But we've got different tensions going on here. So if you pay close attention, from this part here, okay, we want about 70% tension, okay? Good 70% tension until we get to the tape. Then we're just going to let go of the tape. I'm going to make sure this little anchor point here gets a rub and the adhesive starts to stick. Now, this is the last bit. We're going to go around, okay, and we're going to attach here onto this bit of tape. And what we want is a good 100%. We want lots of tension in that tape to help pull this bit of the shoulder back. So, grab that top bit, 100% pull, straight over onto the original bit of tape, and we've got a tiny, tiny little anchor point at the end, of which we're just going to rub over. That's it. If you relax it out. Cool, relax. And as far as taping goes, guys, for the shoulder joint, my preferred way, I've used tape for, I don't even know how many years, I don't even want to think how many years, but I've used it a lot and I've tried different things. And for me, this is the one that yields the best result. And that's not through my bias, that's through working with hundreds and hundreds of hypermobile people and them generally saying, this is the best way to tape because it feels more stable. It's all about getting the joint into the right position and holding it. And a lot of that's going to come down to having your arms in the right position before you apply the tape. So, not going to say a super simple way to tape a shoulder because that does get a little bit difficult and it is a little bit somewhat hard, especially if you're trying to do it yourself, if not almost near impossible. But just wanted to spend today to show you a way that you can tape your shoulder so it's going to be very, very secure. And more importantly, it's going to allow you to go through the day feeling nice and stable. So, for me and Heather guys, we'll see you for the next session. Bye.